Good evening, everybody. Actually, 2 weeks ago, Aisha asked me to say a few words about leadership. What leadership is about, or what does it take to be a good leader? And then I really started to panic. What am I going to say in front of this prestigious audience, in front of our leaders of tomorrow, about leadership? So the first thing I did, actually, I started to buy and read books about leadership. Sorry, Your Excellence, but I started with books from gurus from the Harvard Business Schools. Then I bought some books from retired politicians. I bought books from Dalai Lama. And I also bought a book from Lady Gaga, but it was not really what I was looking for. And I have to say that I was, between you and me, I was kind of embarrassed because I didn't find something very consistent about leadership. Something which was easy to explain, easy to understand, and something which will be replicable in our daily life. So I had this brilliant idea. I said, I'm going to call my boss, because my boss is a great leader. So I'm going to ask him, what is leadership about? So I called my boss and I say, hey, boss, what is a good leader? And I said, Thierry, it's very, very easy. A good leader is somebody who consistently delivers results. But results is not only about making the numbers. It's about making sure you anticipate the trends, making sure that you're driving the change which is necessary to make your business, your region, your function, your department sustainable in the long term, but also working in a kind of sense of urgency. And then he had to hang up because he had his own sense of urgency. So after this one, I said, okay, maybe delivering results is probably part of the leadership roles. But is it the only one? Is there something else? And then I decided to call a meeting with my team. And some of them are actually here tonight. So I decided to call a meeting and tell them, guys, I'm the vice president of the AmCham. I don't want to look stupid in front of my peers. So I need to say something clever about leadership. So you're going to help me to define what's leadership. And then somebody stood up and say, you know, boss, you're a decent leader. Actually, they didn't say decent, they say fantastic. But I wanted to be, based on your point, Your Excellence, be humble vis-à-vis myself. So I say, you're a decent leader, but to be a better leader, what you have to do is develop myself as a strong leader. Okay, what do you mean? I mean that building talent and teams makes the real difference between leaders and outstanding leaders. Okay, give me a few examples. What do you mean? It's about building talent and teams. It's about redesigning your organization. It's about coaching your people, developing the talents, developing the skills of your organization. It's making sure you provide all the possible rewarding opportunities. It's about giving to your people some kind of exposure. And it's also recruiting people who are better than yourself. And make sure that all these people work together, as Stevie Wonder would say, in perfect harmony. And last but not least, prepare your succession. And I could see through the eyes of my team, at least some members of my team, that they were already looking for my succession. Then right at the end of the meeting, actually, my wife called me. So the meeting was finished. I could pick up the phone. So hey, hello, how are you? Hey, darling. And normally she doesn't call me darling except if she's upset. So what are you doing? I'm just finishing a meeting with my team about leadership. And by the way, what do you think about leadership? My wife told me, darling, it's not improving, as you can see. Darling, a great leader, unlike yourself, is somebody who listens and communicates effectively. Last time I told you, and you didn't listen to me, that I already arranged the vacation, the summer camps for my kids for August. And not only you didn't listen to me, but you also organized yourself something on your side without communicating it back to me. So the kids are completely confused. What do we do? So I said, yeah, probably effective communication skills are part of the great leader talents, but probably also part of great husband talents. And effective communication is not only about speaking in public, which I'm trying to do now. It's also making sure that you create the platform and the mindset to really have the right transparent and honest communication with your people. It's also about actively listening to your people and make sure you understand what they want, what they need. And it's also consistently communicate your vision and your assessment of the situation in the most transparent way. And last but not least, have convictions. I'm looking at you guys, ladies and guys. Have conviction, but be ready to change your mind. So, delivering results, building talent and teams, being an effective communicator seems to be the signs of great leadership, but is it really a bit too much internally focused? Maybe, probably. So what I decided, I just called one of my customers, whom I know very well, and Thomas knows him as well. And I asked him the basic questions. What is a great business leader from your perspective? And his answer was very simple. A business leader, whether it's Goodyear or outside of Goodyear, is somebody who has this ability to solve the problem quickly, to be creative in bringing new solutions to complex problems, bringing new services, new partnerships, and understand difference and break the boundaries of business as usual. The out-of-the-box thinking that you were saying. So it's pretty consistent, huh? After all these efforts, it was actually yesterday, I went back to Aisha, and I said, this is the outcome of my job, Aisha. And I think it's quite a brilliant demonstration, right? Again, I was not that humble this time, but it was. And she looked at me and she told, because she is a great leader, so she looked at me and she told me, Thierry, it's a great job. So she started with the positive. Never forget that, very important. She started, yeah, okay, it's a great job, but I think you missed something. Mm-hmm. What do I miss? You miss courage. Great leaders have courage. They have courage to make the decision. They have courage to sometimes stand in front of an unpopular decision. They have courage to make tough calls, whether they are managerial calls or business calls. And I think she was right, not only because it's Aisha. I think she was right. And I was just reflecting back on a year ago, a bit more than a year ago, when I was asked by the AmCham to send some people from my organization to the AmCham contest. And I really thought about, okay, should I do that? Am I taking some risks? Am I probably exposing Thomas too much to the entire Slovenian community and he's going to probably be tempted to see if the grass is greener elsewhere? And actually I said, I'm ready to take the risk. And I can tell you I'm very happy I've taken that risk, because not only he's still in the company, which is good news, but also I think it has created a very positive and motivational momentum, not only for Thomas, but for the people around him. I mean, we had this year we have to refuse candidates internally to the AmCham professional, which I think is a good sign of people willing to go to test their performance. So I think it's extremely positive. So bottom line, what I've just illustrated here is what I believe is leadership is about, which is courageous, effective communicator, problem solver, build talent and teams, and deliver results. And obviously you have understood that it's not only my vision of leadership, it's also the Goodyear vision of leadership. So my takeaway for you, ladies and gentlemen, is that you have to bear in mind two things. Anytime you will have to do something, you will have to refer to something, any decision you will have to take, just remind these things in mind. Am I courageous? By doing that, am I building my talents? Am I solving a problem? Those kind of things. But on top of it, also be aware of something that His Excellency already said. I think you have to be aware of your gaps, because we all have gaps. Except, no, okay. We all have gaps. But the only way to be aware of your gaps is you have to create this interaction with your boss, with your team, with your customers, with Aisha, with your wife or your husband, because this is the only way you're going to get a feedback about what kind of manager you are. Okay? That was it. Thank you.